Today's guest is Stoyan Mitov, who is CEO and partner at Dreamix and a father of three. And we're going to be discussing culture in business. My name is Tony Wood from CEO Collaborative Forum, and let's hear CEO Reflects. Stoyan, a very warm welcome, and thank you so much for making the time in your busy schedule to talk to us.
Thank you for the invitation, Tony. Hope we're going to bring some value to the audience.
Oh my goodness, from the conversations that we have in the past, I absolutely know that's true. And I was so excited when we were talking about putting this together. We were talking about culture. And I think culture is such a powerful thing, but it means so many things to different people. It has different contexts to different people. What does culture mean to you and your company and your employees?
Yes, there is this saying that culture eats process for breakfast, and this really is like that. But what is culture? Of course, there is no good or bad culture because for every organization or for every person, culture means something different. But for example, for me, based on my experience, culture is mostly the actions that we do. It's not words, it's
Interesting.
not just speaking about it, it's what we do when we have to do something, how we do it. It's actions. The culture should be based on deeds, it should not be based just on words. So the actions, the deeds that we do together, and how we do them is how you can describe a culture and how you can also feel the culture inside of an organization. Because by actions, this is how you can then see that this is something real, not just some posters on the wall or just some bullshit words. So this is, in my opinion, the real culture is the actions by the people, how they behave, how they act, and how they talk, because this is also an action with your partners, with your clients, with each other, and all these type of things. But it is
No,
actions, not
I
words.
like that because you've turned it from something ethereal into something real. It's the things that people are actually doing. So when you push this and you're an advocate for a great culture, what are the benefits that you're seeing with your clients, with your company, with your employees?
The benefits are many. So, for example, if we consider the business, let's say the clients, because we are a service business, we are doing end-to-end product development, digital transformation, and so on. I can just give examples because it's gonna be simpler for
Mhm.
for everyone to comprehend. We are working with one of the major airlines, and they had an issue on the weekend that was supposed to be
Mhm.
solved by some other teams in some other locations. But what happened is that because you have this type of culture of ownership of what you do, you don't want to have this micromanagement. You want to trust your people, to have this ownership, that they feel. So one of our guys just opened the laptop. He saw on the message that there is an issue, and he just solved it in 15 minutes. And when we went to our clients in Dublin to see them face to face, the first thing that happened is that the VP of their team just came and shake the hand of our guy, because this is an ownership. This is
Yeah,
proactivity and ownership that you want to cherish. One example. Another
yeah,
very interesting example was there was a project for one of the biggest logistics companies in Europe.
yeah.
And for years, many different teams failed to solve the issue. And we have built this really amazing team that was working on something else for this company. But because they saw that the people there are proactive, they have the ownership, they're enthusiastic about what they do, they asked two of them to join the other team to solve the issue. And these two
Right.
guys were initially okay, but everyone failed there. Should we say yes? And they said, yes, we should say yes, because this is gonna really help and bring value. And they went there and solved the issue. This is the mindset that you have when you have the right culture for your business. The mindset is to say yes and then figure out the solution, because you are smart and you know that you feel secure that even if you fail, you don't be penalized about that.
That's interesting.
Because, yeah.
Sorry, after you. Yeah, so what you're saying is that culture is a wrapper, really. It's a wrapper for the values and the things that you see important. And a lot of that is we'll do whatever it takes to make sure that our clients are successful or whatever it takes to solve a problem. How do you instill that value within the culture, within people? Because it isn't just natural, is it? How do you create that?
Yes, amazing question. So this is complicated, but I can tell you what I've seen that works.
Okay.
Several things. First of all, when you have the right culture in your organization and you hire the right people, because this is key,
Yeah,
the people stay. You have high retention rate. We have 95% retention rate,
that's amazing.
which means which means that when a new people join, when someone new joins the organization, he has these people in the organization that are there for several years, and he can see through their actions the embodiment of this culture. So, first of all, he sees by example, by actions, what is the right way of behavior, the right way of taking action. This is the first one. What else happens is, of course, when the management, the C level, the founders, the owners, the executives, they embody this culture. They are the main example about it, because if they are not, then the employees will say, oh, but they're speaking about something, but they don't act on it,
Okay.
and this won't help. So this is something important. And second, not the third one that I want to mention is that in order to have an organization, especially in the service sector, to develop in the right way, you should make it that the decisions are made where the information is. What
Oh, I
does
like.
this mean? It
Yeah.
should not be, how to say, only put on the top to take the decisions, but you should empower the people to make the decision. Even the empower is not the right word, because you mean that you can empower but also disempower.
Yeah.
Then this is not working well. So in order for this to work, you have to have two things. The first one is transparency. The people should know where the organization is going. And the second of all is competence. So you have to invest as much as possible into each and every one of the in the organization in order for these people to make the decisions. This is very important, in my opinion, for especially for a service organization.
Right. So I like that. So people have to practice what they speak at every level at the organization. And then you'd make sure that people who, we know, where the rubber meets the road, that's where the decision gets made and not somewhere else where it's a summary of a summary of a summary. I like that. And that immediacy, that also gives do you think that gives a feedback to people to say, we trust you? And is trust important within this?
Not only that we trust you, but we also give you opportunity to grow,
Right.
to do something that is developing you, to solve smart problems. Not
Mhm.
that you have to escalate all the things that are interesting to the management or to the upper people
Oh,
there.
thank goodness. Yes.
So
Yeah, I
this
love
is
that.
important. That's
Yeah.
important. And when they see that everyone is doing it
Yep.
in their team, in their organization, then this is culture. The acts, the deeds. This is something that is special.
I mean, how do you? Because there's always sometimes a bad apple. When you see that there's someone that maybe isn't following the ideals that you have for the culture, how do you approach that? I'm always interested when things are going well. It's fantastic, and we always want things to go well. But when it doesn't, what? How do you start to think about that?
Amazing question, but let me dive a bit deeper.
Oh, please.
So, in order to have the good culture, the right culture, there are several things that are very important. As I mentioned, who you hire, super important. You have to involve the team, many of the people that are in the organization in this process, in order to understand why it's so important that they can open or close the
Yeah.
door to someone.
Right.
Okay, because this new joiner can improve the organization or can lead it to something bad.
Yes.
The second, as I also mentioned, when you have a growing organization, especially, it's super important that people to grow as fast as the organization is growing revenue-wise or whatever. But they have to grow as individuals, as professionals. So the organization must invest as much as it can back into the people and into their growth. The third one is who you promote. because this can give a good example or a bad example. This can
Mm,
motivate or demotivate. And the fourth one is what you say, who
yeah.
you fire, because you have to give an example about what type of behavior you don't tolerate. And when you say a rotten apple, if it's something connected to the hard skills, you can teach this person. But
Mm,
if it's something connected to the mentality, to the behavior, to the type of person it is very hard to be, how to say, I don't know, fixed. So in this situation, you have to act fastly in order to show to the rest that this behavior is intolerable. This is super important because if you tolerate it for too long, then the other people will start questioning.
yeah.
But we were taught something else. You are acting in some other type of we had some other type of behavior, but now they tolerate this one. Why they tolerate it? And they start questioning. You know.
So, so,
So
so there's consistency within there, but also there needs to. That sounds like there's a great degree of transparency within the business where people they feel they can speak up, and if they do speak up, it's not going to affect their career. That's
yes,
that's an incredible environment to create, and I think quite difficult. So that comes from you, I presume,
yes, it also comes from me. The transparency starts from me.
right?
This is super important. First of all, just to give some hints. Also, it depends. For example, all these actions changes or you add new actions when the company is in different size, when it's growing. Because what worked before, it's not working now when you're a bigger organization. You also have to think creatively and critically about what's new should we add, what's
Yeah,
the next step. So for example, for the transparency, my calendar is open to anyone, so anyone can book a
interesting.
meeting with me. Second of all, I'm doing these monthly sessions, company-wide, open-air questions that they can ask, and I'm also speaking on different team every last Friday of the month. Another thing, I'm still involved in the onboarding of every new employee. Every
Nice.
last Tuesday of the month, I'm doing a personal onboarding to everyone who started during this month
Like
because
it.
they have to feel the time, not like I don't know someone a god on the top. I'm a normal human being
Yeah, I
that
know.
is next to them. It is next to them. I'm of course leading the organization somehow, but I'm next to them. You know.
Okay, that's really interesting. So this sounds like there's lots of tips and insights into the business, but how does this then turn into business value to your clients? How do you explain to your clients and customers the proposition or the context of why culture is employment or what it is?
Luckily, we don't have to explain it so much because all of them in our
Yeah,
industry know how important it is. First of all, because of the attrition. They
yeah,
know how competitive is the landscape, and
mm,
they know that if you have a huge attrition, and
hmm,
if you have to be like, let's say you have a big, let's say you need a lot of time in order when you join a new project in
yeah,
order to be productive and valuable. And
yeah,
think about it, if you need 6 months in order to understand in the best possible way the product, the process, the industry, and then in a year you are moving to another company, you are leaving, then they're losing all this,
yeah,
onboarding, they're losing all this value. And when they know that the people are staying, the people are having this enthusiasm, they have the ownership, they have the proactivity, this makes the entire difference in the world,
yeah. It
because
does.
they know how important are the people when you have to solve, high, how to say, problems that are not very clear about what they are. Because, first of all, in order to solve something there, you have to dive deeper into the organization, the industry, the product, and so on.
Yeah.
And you need time to do it. And if you leave in a year, all the value is lost.
No,
So this is the first one.
I like that. I like that. And there's probably many others as well. So what would you advise? So we've got our listeners, watchers who are listening to you, and this is great stuff. What one thing would you say that they should do to start them on this journey in the next 24 hours?
To think about what are the actions, the deeds in their organizations that are promoting the right behavior and the right culture for them. Not is what they preach, but what they do in order to promote this right culture for them. And to think about when they have, for example, if they have certain values, what are the actions that are proving that they have these values? And if they don't have such actions or deeds, to start doing something in order to be to be based on deeds, not to be based on words.
Stoyan, look, you're quite obviously a thought leader in this area, and I'm just blown away. I've already learned so much. I was just sitting there going, I'm going to watch this back and scribble down some notes. But I just wanted to thank you for making the time and for being so clear. And I hope there were so many things in here to unpick. I'd love in the future if you'd come back and maybe we could go through some of these and also answer some of people's questions when they have them.
Of course. I'm more than open to help. So thank you for this amazing interview.
Thank you, Stoyan. Take care now.
Thanks.